Good evening and welcome to November Foxtrot, episode 8. Is it? I think so. Yeah. Yeah, it is episode 8. Yeah, episode 8.
Episode 8, yes, it is.
Yeah, we're back. Another week, another Friday. We're obviously joined by a Ghillie Sniper Girl this week.
Hello.
A few comments coming in already. Hi everyone in the chat. So, yeah. How is everybody?
All good, mate, all good.
Yeah, not too bad.
Just joined by Paul.
No, we're not. Paul's room. There's
Just
Paul's
joined by
room.
Paul's ghost.
It's concealment.
Oh,
I tricked you.
I love that.
That was so weird.
Boo.
That was
Mate.
weird.
And that's it for November
like
Foxtrot this week. That's all you need to know. That's absolutely
yeah.
grand.
Thank you very much.
Just running around with big print.
I've been working
good
at home
camouflage.
today, and it's spent me. I've taken all day getting that. So
That's
don't tell
right,
anyone.
mate. Fair play.
Completely
That
worth
was
it.
work. That work was fine. Honestly, I got loads done. Took a photo. of
Look
my
what I
bedroom.
made.
That's awesome.
Oh dear. Happy Friday.
Yes, mate. You been all right?
Yeah, good, mate. I've got a +1 with me. I've bought my good friend, Mr. Jack.
No. I've got the mixer because I'm working tonight, so I've got a mixer of Coke.
Oh, splendid. Oh, you're on a
Yeah.
mocktail, are you?
Yummy.
Diet lemonade.
Mm.
I've already had
It's
them
not
out.
really Jack Dan. This is just tea. It's like the old westerns. Cold tea.
Bit of tea.
The other half will ask me where I am in 3 hours' time, and I'll be passed out.
Yeah, I drank far too much tea tonight.
It's gone. Well, welcome.
Yeah. So
Good to see ya.
tonight's episode is Camouflage and Concealment, hence the awesome guest that we have with us, Ghillie Sniper Girl. Would you like to just introduce yourself?
So yeah, my name's actually Drew, and yeah, I've sort of played Airsoft, have been for maybe 2 years now. And yeah, I got into it because my partner plays and his mate. I sort of had my first game was actually CQB, and I hated it, and I swore I was never going back to Airsoft again. But I sort of decided to give Woodlands a try and sort of fell in love with it from there. And my partner was into snipers, so that's how I sort of got into it mostly.
Cool.
So yeah,
Nice.
I've never done CQB yet.
I hated it.
I'm too soft-skinned, I think.
Like a
Too
petrol,
many-
aren't you?
I think I will. I'll be like that. Ooh, running away from it. It's just not
And it was
me.
a night game as well, which made it even worse.
Oh, wait. No.
That was bad.
No, people say to me the best way if you want to just get used to taking your hits is to go and do a session at an indoor because you're just going to get lit up. But it's just like saying, oh, you know, if you want to know what it feels like getting a tooth taken out, go down the shed and get the pliers and pull your tooth out yourself. I don't do it. Sorry, no. If I don't have to, I'm not going to.
Don't blame you. I wouldn't recommend that.
One of my worst experiences with CQB was, I think it's the episode. The tunnels are only lit by a small Jenny outside, so they've only really got half the thing set up. And you're literally running around in these dark tunnels, and there were 3 of us, and the other 2 got shot out. I'd never been there before, so I just fired into the wall, called hit, and then ran away.
You run away! Oh, nice one. No, we did it. The fault we did when I went there, and they moved that last section of the game indoors into the into sort of like the walkways and the side rooms and all that sort of thing. And they said to us, just look, use your pyro, use whatever you like. And I just had delivered just before we went about 12 EG-18Xs.
Oh,
And I said to the guy, can we use them? Like, because it's indoors. And he said, yeah. He said, anything goes. Don't worry about it. Just use them. So I threw them down the corridor, and within about 3 minutes, they cancelled the game. And people were literally crawling out. One guy took his mesh off. He had like this mesh mask, and he took it off, and he was just green underneath. When his EG-18 had just been by his feet, just filled the place out. No one could figure out where they were going. Oh, mate, it was brilliant. Absolutely
fair
brilliant.
play.
I recorded it on a GoPro, and all you can hear on the footage on it is just this guy walking out going, some fucking bellend for a smoke grenade. There's me walking behind him going,
Yeah. Just with a big swag bag full of grenades on your back.
it's me. Oh dear, fun.
Nice.
Right, so concealment and camouflage. Who wants to kick off? I think we'll probably talk about camouflage patterns first. That's obviously like the main biggie.
Yeah, I guess so.
Do you wanna,
I mean, Paul,
Right,
you're
France?
more of an OD green man yourself, aren't you?
I am. So I started off when I first started, so a few years back now. I started off with just jumping onto eBay and getting some sort of army surplus trousers and a U-backs, and went with that for a little bit, just to see whether I liked it, because the team that I was playing with at the time, obviously they had their own set kit, but it was a case of, you know, go and have a little go, see what you think. So I got that, and to be fair, it did me well. I fell over the first game and took a chunk out of the knee, so it was just as well I ended up buying the other kit. But yeah, so I started off with that, and that seemed to work. You know, it's designed almost for the woodlands over here, and it fits in for the woodlands over here. And then after that, I went over to CADPAT, which I think is the one that I sent you a picture of earlier.
Yeah, I've got that. I can bring that up.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
So that was the CADPAT. So it is, to be fair, that's what Wolf Recon was running. So if I work from toes upwards, so that's the lower Zephyr boots that I've still got now, the ones that we reviewed the other day. The CADPAT trousers and top, that's just literally a CADPAT pair of knee pads that I found online. The U-backs, and then that's the Warrior Raptor vest.
Oh, that's your old rig, is it, Paul?
Yeah, that's my old one.
Nice.
And I think that's my old iPhone 5S.
Looks like a 5C.
Oh yeah, it's a 5C. It is a 5C. Yeah, it's the one that they gave us. It's my first issued company iPhone.
Lovely.
It's a 5C. Yep. Oh, mate.
Where does that camo pattern come from?
The what? Sorry.
Where does that camo pattern actually sort of derive from?
Don't hold me to
You
this.
know.
I think CADPAT's Canadian pattern.
Oh, okay.
So, I
it.
got
It's
it
nice,
from. It's from a paintball shop. There, I mentioned that on an Airsoft channel. I'll have to dig it out. It's one that's still around now, but it's changed its name from what it used to be. But they still do it, and it's still
I'll give you the Wikipedia description if you like. It's a Canadian disruptive pattern. Is the computer-generated digital pattern first issued in 2002 and currently used by Canadian Armed Forces, and it's designed to reduce the likelihood of detection by night vision devices.
But funnily enough, doesn't work with a beige back wall in my bedroom.
No. crap situation to find yourself in there.
Exactly that. So if I was in there, then I'd have properly been in trouble.
That's where your digital photo comes out.
That's it,
exactly.
yeah. Deploy the photograph.
And I don't know whether it's just because of where I got it from, or whether I just didn't, whether I didn't wash it right and didn't turn it inside out or whatever. But that soon went from that lovely dark colour to a very faded, sort of washed out look. But yeah, I've still got it now. It's still up in the loft. I've got the U-back still, got the knee pads, got everything that goes with it, and yeah, I'll continue. I would stick it on if the right time sort of beckoned. Yeah, or if I fancied sitting downstairs watching a bit of telly with it, whatever. And then after that, so when I sort of took a bit of a hiatus from that group, if you will, I then went over to the Rail 7013, the claw gear. So I've now got those. That's the claw gear trousers and U-back again in the Rail, which is like a bit of a greyish, brownish green. And that works really well. So I wore that at APOC the other day when we was there last, when we had a little run around with you guys. And that one fits in quite nicely.
So you're also, I suppose, wearing like an OD green, like blank pattern, if you like, or block colour. You'll be more reliant on your surrounding environment to sort of crouch, prone.
Yeah, exactly that.
To sort of make yourself, to break up your shape more than obviously using just obviously a plain OD green pattern.
Yeah, and
if it's effective for you, then
it was good. Just watching Mike though. So when the other Mike, I was following him around, so just sort of practicing if we were sort of two men out doing a bit of recon or whatever, how we manoeuvre together and all that sort of stuff. And just watching someone sometimes, and how they hunker into trees and how they dig into bushes just to get themselves out of the way. I risk of myself getting shot sideways anyway because I'm standing there looking at him. But it is quite interesting to just take in what other people are doing and how they approach sort of hiding away. Because the one thing I do find with, especially with skirmishes more so, is if you're being told your objective is to go from A to B, or to get a bomb, a lot of the time people are just bombing along and they're not necessarily looking out for other people.
That's
so you
right,
don't
yeah.
have to dig yourself in too much, which suits me because I'm not really that good at hiding. You know, a bit wider than your average.
Smarter than your average bear, though, mate.
Exactly that, yeah, exactly. And then obviously I've got the, you know, after we sort of said that there was the opportunity to come along and play with you guys on some events, and we thought we was going to go to Longmoor to do the battle sim. Then I've got the claw gear in multicam as well, which when you go to a skirmish, it's the world and their mum are in multicam, and it can be a little bit sort of, you know, not off-putting, but a bit samey. But if you go into a MilSim or a battle sim, then obviously that's the role you're playing. So I've got pretty much those three. I'm happy with those for a minute. But I must admit, I've got a soft spot for Flectarn. I keep seeing that cropping up.
Nice.
Yeah,
purchase.
could be. Let's get Christmas out of the way, I suppose.
Definitely, yeah.
But yeah, so that's me.
With you then, Sniper Girl, for your typical like a skirmish day, for example, then what sort of do you always like? Will you predominantly always wear a ghillie suit, or do you use a different type, like depending on what sort of gameplay there's going on, or do you take like a varying amount of camo with you?
So I found that normally in the morning I tend to go out in my ghillie suit, and then come the afternoon I end up sort of going casual.
Right.
I don't know why, but we recently tried out this new site, and it was safe to say my ghillie suit was not suitable for it at all. It was really quite green, grassy. It was a bit of woodlands, but not what I would call your typical woodlands, like the leaves on the floor and that. It was more, I stood out like a sore thumb, unfortunately. So
that can happen sometimes. So sometimes a full ghillie suit's not. Sometimes it doesn't work. It's definitely dependent on where you are, sort of thing.
Yeah, and obviously within the first time I've been there, we don't really know what we were walking into. So, but that came off after lunch, and then I just sort of go with my normal green trousers and just went with the green hoodie. And to be fair, I probably blended in better with that because the amount of green that was around than I did with my ghillie suit. To be fair.
Definitely, yeah.
So but I'm now in the process of making a hood so I can make that a bit more green. So if I take that with me and I go to a new site, I can shove that on my top half over the ghillie suit, so it's a bit more green, better for that surrounding. So yeah.
Right, yes, it's all like almost like a modular sort of ghillie suit.
Yeah, basically, because it is very brown at the moment.
I see
that's
you
cool. That's
the
another
day you was out of cable ties. Is that for part of building that? Was it using the zip ties to build it all together?
Basically. So after I ordered 1,000 zip ties, I then found over 1,000 zip ties in the drawer. So I ended up about 2,500 zip ties. But yeah, I've sort of been putting this together. They've still got a few green patches. And I'm waiting for some raffia to turn up as well. But yeah, I basically just got some white cotton and got some dye and just did it all different sort of shades.
Yeah, cool.
It's not, the ground isn't just one type of ground.
Can we make a ghillie girl, a Sniper Girl bigger on the screen?
Yeah.
Just
don't do
look
that.
at some of the materials and that.
Full screen.
There we go. That's all yours.
Thanks. So yeah, I just basically got bits of white material, shoved it in a pan with a bit of dye, and ended up coming out with like 3 different types of brown. Don't know if you can really see the 3 types.
Cool.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So yeah, that will sort of break it up a little bit, and then I'll get my order of raffia come in, and that will add some green to it. But it's definitely a cheaper alternative to buying a full suit, I'd say. So, but yeah, it's very cheap.
And you'll individually fix each of those leaves that you've dyed there. You'll individually affix each one of them to your suit, will you? Or are you doing lots of like block batches or?
No, individual. So.
Wow, so that's a dedication.
I've probably gone through maybe 400 or 500 zip ties already. and that's not quite finished. So,
Oh.
yeah,
Fair play.
I find it quite therapeutic, to be fair. Sometimes time is better than money when it comes to ghillie suits.
Yeah, I mean, if you got the time to it, for me, I wouldn't have the patience to do that. I'd end up copping the ump halfway through and just running around with half a ghillie suit made, and that'd be me. Like, no, that'll do.
I know someone who they try and start crafting ghillie suits and then ends up taking them months just to do like one little section because he just gets bored of it and then yeah, I'm done.
It does take a lot longer than you think when you start off, because it's like I know I've been so I've made a few, but this is my latest creation. Is my high vis ghillie suit, which I've only got about halfway there. But
it's shot to bits, isn't it? Absolutely.
I cut all the fabric out, and then honestly, it's taken me about 3 weeks just to get to that point. And it does start to get a bit demoralising.
For an urban roadworks game.
It's Mardi Gras.
I'll be honest with you, I was trying to make it for Halloween, for the old Halloween loadout competition thing, and it didn't quite happen that way.
When's Halloween then this year?
Yeah, it's next year's
one, when we can go out trick or treating.
Perhaps the treat will be that he's done it.
Yeah, there you go. I have a question actually. So with yours, you've obviously kind of gone for like a small, like a leaf shape almost. Whereas I know because I made this one previously, and I just literally used like the string stuff, and this was great when I used it, but when I come back, it's got most of the forest still in it. And also it's sort of torn off in a few places where I was just like running through bushes and it just ripped it apart. So I'd be interested to sort of hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah. I remember wearing one of those once, and I hated it because you just end up getting caught in the bushes, and then a bit comes loose, so the bush sort of twangs back, and that sort of gives away your position type thing. And and I find they're good. I think they're better from a distance than what they are up close, I'd say. And obviously in Airsoft, you haven't quite got the range to be doing distant type things. So, I suppose I prefer looking at things up close. So you're standing in front of something that's 5-10 meters away and you can't see it. That's sort of the aim I'd go for, to be fair. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that did have string attached to it, and that came off straight away.
I suppose the upside of crafting your own is that you're kind of crafting it to what you're more sort of used to locally, sort of the surroundings that you've got. And if obviously you go to Apocalypse and there's a lot of sort of skinny trees, isn't there? It's quite open to a point, but there's the odd bit that you can sort of work your way around those colours. Yeah. And then other parts of the country,
you've got a lot of birch and stuff, and a lot of ground litter. So I mean, and obviously the brambles and that through the summer months, sometimes they can get a bit crazy. But I mean, like you say, you've got to work to your local environment of where you're predominantly going to be playing, I suppose. But I mean, Sniper Girl, would you? Are you going to be like? Was your intentions? Are you going to make like a sort of like a couple of seasonal ghillie suits where you've got like an autumn one or a fall one, and then like a spring, summer, more greener one, like maybe 2 or 3 different types of suit that you could use, or?
So I'd probably stick to just 2 different seasons. I'd probably stick to just summer and autumn, because I think they're the 2 biggest ones, I'd say. You've got like autumn sort of, nearly probably 7-8 months of the year, to be fair. By the time the leaves start growing back, especially around here, you get very few summer months. That's why my North Mountain suit is predominantly sort of autumn type thing. It is a little bit light, to be fair, so I'm adding some of this brown material to make it a bit darker. And then this hood, I'm sort of going to make it for a summer type thing, and then perhaps in the future, once I get a bit of money away, I probably might invest in a more of a summery suit. So I know my teammate, he's got the green North Mountain suit, and I don't know if you've seen a couple of pictures on my Instagram. They are completely different. Like, he can stand in a holly bush or anything like that and you can't see him. It's very green, and it's good if you want to stand up and do that sort of thing, but as soon as he lays on the floor, he stands out like a sore thumb.
So
Right,
So-
right with you. And is that
Yeah.
something that he's crafted himself, or like he's bought a base model suit and then added to it, or is that something he's just got straight off the shelf? Or
I think it's not got a lot of crafting on it, to be fair. But then I suppose we sort of work off each other in the sense that we can hide in different environments but near each other, if that makes sense. So it works
Definitely,
quite
yeah.
well for both of us. But yeah, it is a really good suit. But it just depends how you want to play, really.
for sure, absolutely, yeah, cool.
Cool. Just dive to the comments quick. We've had a few people sort of saying, "Do you think Rage File? Nice to see you again." My local place is an old open prison. The jail in Oakham, it's an old open prison, so it's a mix of really tight CQB. Definitely makes you swear a lot.
That sounds cool, though, doesn't it?
I really want to play that.
Yeah, I don't mind having a visit
epic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Harry Badger. Hi, Harry. Nice camo. Looks a bit on the dark green side. He has tropical multicam, which is similarly dark green. Stip has said US Woodlands is probably the most versatile. I have to say I do like US Woodlands.
So
I
you
will
that, yeah.
grab that top or the trousers out and take a photograph of it, and you can do a comparison on Facebook to what it was when I first bought it in that lovely dark green to what it looks like now. It could be almost like I've just stood there and it started to snow. It's just as pale as you like. Washed
Wayne
out.
has said, I used to run a Vietnam OD green kit and found that was harder to see when in a hedge than most other camos. Harry also came back. Teammate had a string suit and came back looking like a bramble bush with all the crap he'd collected in it. Yeah, completely agree.
It's good like that because you can collect natural foliage as you're going along, I suppose. So.
Yeah.
But then you bring it all in your bedroom and you've got to clean up.
Got the roadies on.
Leah says, "Hi, Dad."
Oh, hello, Leah. Why aren't you in bed?
And then Stip also says, "UK is 75% winter anyway, with a couple months of green summer." So,
If some random name comes up and says, "Hi, Dad," I'll just let you know I can account for all of my children. But no others out there whatsoever.
I'll pull the daddy. That was weird. Let's move on. Let's talk about camo face paints. Oh no, sorry, yeah, of course, Lance. You want to talk about yours, didn't you? Sorry, mate.
No, I just keep getting. I'm not sure if it's my connection dropping out or what, but it all just keeps going completely dark, and then everyone keeps popping back into the room. So, all very bizarre. That's why I keep suddenly going. Are we on or off?
No, you're still here. Do you want to talk about your mate?
Jeff, yeah, he's here. Very quiet.
Jeff.
So basically, all I've got is a like a Ghillie Sniper hood, if you like, which is I think Mike, you may have ordered one more recently than I have, so you probably know the where we got them from.
I'll find it.
I bought it first, and I can't remember.
Details.
So it's a very basic pattern, if you like. It's a green mesh, a nylon mesh it comes with almost like a flecton leaf already attached to it. Which there's the baseline. That's what you get, and obviously I've added the raffia. Some other netting to it and some spray from some rattle cans and that along the way, more so up around the hood than anything else. But I mean, I can remove it from Jeff, but if he doesn't fall over.
While you're doing that, it's Rust Camo on
Rust
eBay.
Camo, there we go.
Yeah.
So there we go. That's the hood itself with the sleeves, and there's Jeff. And that's literally all I'd use from a ghillie point of view. That is literally the only thing I'd take with me on a MilSim or a day skirmish, and then that'll just fit into a tiny little compression sack like that, which will literally just crush down really, really small. I mean, this although it's quite open and big, once you rattle it, once you give it a shake out and you've got it out of the bag, but that will actually crush down really, really small into be able to be stored away. So from a clothing point of view, other than my baseline MTP or Desert DPM, Woodland DPM.
I think it was slowly going. Oh, no, you're back now.
On it. Am I back? I don't know if it's my connection.
You're cutting in and out a little bit there, Lance.
Right, okay then, mate. Yeah. So, but yeah, like I said, not a great deal from the ghillie crafting side of things, but that's literally my go-to, and I'll just chuck that on if I'm doing any recon or anything like that, or staying in an LUP for a long period of time. Then that'll be sort of I'll chuck that on. It keeps all my front covered. Predominantly, I'll be prone anyhow, so it'll only be me sort of the head, shoulders facing forward that will require covering, and then along with that, I'll carry a scrim scarf, which I can either drape over the rifle or create a bit of a hide with it. I mean, it's that, again, very versatile bit of kit. Easily just sling it around your neck, tuck it into your top, and then you've got actually a bit of cover on you where there wasn't none. You can create your own sort of hide sort of thing from there. And then finally, sort of like a bread and butter is your pack of cam cream with your little vanity mirror and that in there, just to top up things. 9 times out of 10, I won't wear gloves, so I usually end up with cam cream all over me. Hello, am I there?
Yeah, still there.
All right, okay, cool. It keeps just dropping out, so I'm not sure if I'm on or off. I don't know why it's doing it. It's very weird.
It might be the fancy green screen
essentially
you've got going, because the camera does seem to be sort of popping in and out of quality, I think.
Right, okay, maybe something to look at then. But yeah, other than the hood, my scrim scarf, and obviously the good old fashioned cam cream. That's for me camouflage. That's pretty much all I'd use. And obviously, depending on where I am and what I'm doing, it depends what type of camouflage I'm using. Whether I need my scrim scarf, or just the ghillie hood, or just some cam cream and just like the normal setup, basically. But and obviously using the natural environment as well, finding cover, moving slowly and stuff like that. For me, camo and concealment sort of type of thing. And obviously, if we're in woodland and that, I've got a big camo net which we can use and sort of divide up between us to cover up bashers and bivvies and certain areas that haven't got a lot of camouflage, like natural camo, and we can sort of try and create it with some bits and bobs around us, which we've had to do up at our fob, especially in the fall, where you don't get so much. Well, you get a lot of leaf litters fallen, but it's sort of like putting your basher in and then sort of backing leaves up over the back of it, just to take away that visual image of like something suddenly rectangular and green, or sort of like a slightly darker green sticking out of the ground. At least you can break it up with some branches and some bit of leaf litter and that, just to sort of take the edges away from it. And obviously that's what you're trying to achieve, really. That's pretty much me.
Well, covering the cam cream, because that's quite a nice little segue there. These are really good. I really like these because these come with a little mirror in there as well, so you can actually see what you're doing at the same time. However, I've bought a couple of these off of eBay recently, and they are absolutely cack. And I don't know if they're counterfeit ones or something like that, but I used it at the last event, and Lance can testify to this. I was trying to smear Play-Doh onto my face. As in, like, you got a kind of a glob of it on your finger, you run it down your face, and it's still on your finger. It didn't go anywhere.
You did have an awful lot of it, though, to be fair.
Yeah, there was a little bit of.
It wasn't a very excessive lump of cam cream on the end of your finger.
I'm just trying to find a photograph. I'll see if I can find it. I'll send it to you. Our first MilSim that I went to, as I say, the one in Longmoor. I bet I've not got it. I'm gonna have to find it off my hard drive and share it. I put some face paint on. So we're going to go out on a night mission, so cam cream up. And to be fair, it was the first time that I put cam cream on since I was in Scouts all those years ago. Me and my mates used to go down to the Army Surplus store and buy stuff just for laughs. And honestly, I put this stuff on. I was like, it was proper, but I sort of used black, and there was just not one part of me. I was like, it was just totally covered, apart from when I opened my eyes, and it was just like as bright as you like. And it comes the next day, and I had to get them off. I had nothing to get it off with. So literally, I've got all my gear trying to rub this stuff off, and then having to drive home and stop off at the garages to go and get a sandwich because we were all really starving. Walking in there, they must have looked at me like some sort of...
You definitely need baby wipes for cam cream.
Yeah.
The key one there. Because you're right, otherwise you leave the site and you look like, you look like you're blacking up, basically. It's like some of the...
I didn't want to drop that on there, but essentially that is what I look like. But it was a shocking attempt, almost a what not to do. Alas, it's not on here.
I used to be in Year Cadets. We used to have to do it and teach ourselves how to use it properly and everything else. And I used to come back, and bear in mind I was quite young at the time. And my mum used to look at me and go, "What the are you doing?" And I was just like, painting. And I remember literally like the sink would be green, black, brown, just trying to scrub it off. And I hated it ever since then. And I've never used it for Airsoft. Even more so the fact my partner used it, and his eyebrows turned. Bear in mind, he's bright ginger. His eyebrows were green.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
I watched Novridge. His mate did it, and he sat in the car putting it all on, and he'd done it all up around his eyes and everywhere. But he said, "I don't know what I'm doing around my eyes for, because I've got to wear eye pro anyway." But he'd done all under here, and he was trying to get it all off in the car.
I was just going to show a picture because this was taken at the last event we went to. Unfortunately, I couldn't find it quick enough.
I'd love to know how to do it properly, just to have a go. But
yeah, I mean, the thing is, I think
it's relatively easy to do it. I mean, once you've done it a couple of times, you sort of know. Then, I mean, with your base layers and stuff like that. I mean, you go light to dark. It's the same when I'm spraying my rifts pool. I mean, literally, I go light. There he is. Look.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying I put it in any way, put it on the right way, but it was interesting, that photo, to see the comparison, how much it does make a bit of a difference.
Do you know what I did?
Just don't smile when you're trying to camouflage.
Yeah, don't smile.
All I can see are two people on either side. I can't see where you are.
Exactly. I've also, with that one, interestingly, this pair of mesh eye pros actually from Lance, but he spray painted them green, which makes a big difference as well. So,
yeah, mesh is always good. You can just spray paint it.
You just got a beard, Lance, and you don't need to face paint up. You've done half of your face in hair.
Well, a few other comments have pointed out how we're doing it badly. So Ragefile says, "So you'll call sign blackface tut. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, let's just clarify. I wasn't trying to do that. It's just the brown colour was the only one that seemed to work, and it was really bad. I tried to change it fairly sharpish after that.
What got me is that I was with 4 other people that knew how to do it, yet they all let me carry on.
Yeah,
let's sit here and watch him.
Everyone just thought it was funny. Les Payne asked which one would be better, the square box or the stick. So if you get the good, the proper, I'm assuming this is a proper one, but the proper one of those, I find those are quite good. You generally get like 3 colours with the mirror, which makes a big difference. The sticks obviously generally tend to get sort of 2 colours and no mirror. So
if you want to do it like Arnie, get the stick.
Yeah.
Commando. 2 stripes. No one can see him.
Ragefile says, it's just to break up your features, right? Not to make you look like a goblin. Thanks, Ragefile. And Stip says, dark colours on the raised areas and light on the recesses.
Oh dear, he was so happy himself. That's the main thing, isn't it?
The funny thing was, I hadn't done around my eyes at all because I figured I didn't need to, because I've obviously got the eye pro on. So as soon as I took the eye pro off, everyone's like, "What on earth have you done?" Because I've just got these big pink eyes, look like a reverse panda.
I thought you was going like that. Then the thing was to go, fuck you lot, taking the piss.
I've got a camo there, but Jeff's covering my face, so you can't really see the camo. Let me just move Jeff a little bit.
Bye-bye,
There's
Jeff.
a bit of camo there. Bye, Jeff. Thanks for coming. Useless.
Hope he pays rent.
No, he stays in the loft in the dark. He's a bit kinky like that, as our Jeff.
That's cool.
Yeah, like I say, it works for me. And obviously, by the end of the weekend, I've got like a green shit brown beard, which is always good from reapplying.
Is that spray on? Is it, like,
it does work. I mean,
is it like a Piz Buin? like all-year tan?
Exactly, yeah. But so yeah, that's how. I mean, just a basic camo layer, and you can see obviously there. I'll do my hands as well, because 9 times out of 10 I probably won't have a pair of gloves on. Sometimes I do, but I usually either forget to put them back on, or I just find it better. I prefer using them rifling out without using gloves. So, but yeah, basically that's obviously Woodland DPM top, MTP Boonie hat, or pork pie hat if you like, and obviously just what I like to think is like a relatively good use of cam cream, just to break up the shape and sort of hide the light patches of skin and this, that, and the other. The ears, around the neck. Obviously, just remembering areas that you might not obviously notice, but areas that can obviously get you noticed if you'd follow me, backs of the ears, back of the neck. So just remembering to cover up all in sorts of parts. If you haven't got like a ghillie hood or a scrim scarf or something like that, but yeah, I don't mind wearing it. To be fair, I don't find it much of a ball ache. Sure, mate.
No, so I'll have a little YouTube. It's definitely something worth having a nose at. I think it's just to understand it. I think anyone else has got any photographs of where they've gone for it. in a more successful fashion, or where they've had an absolute fashion disaster and they want to share it with us, and we'll gladly put it on the show so we don't look as stupid all the time either.
Yeah, I've got some proper terrible photos, and you'll notice they're not the ones I'm putting up.
You must have a few corkers, Mike.
Well,
Surely.
like I've got, yeah, I do. This is just a snood. I think it's a Highlander snood. So I use this every once in a while. It's just a sort of general woodland print. But that's quite good because if you do just want to cover your face up, obviously if you've got your eye pro on, your help like boonie or something like that, that makes quite a difference as well.
Yep.
But that's obviously something you can pull down quickly as well. So I've used this when we've done sort of quick recce's before, sort of go and sit in the bush, just pull that up and you just sit there and wait for people to sort of approach you and just get an idea of just sort of where they are and stuff. But that's like a quick faux camouflage paint equivalent, I guess. The scrim scarf's a good one. I mean, Lance, I think, was yours just a solid colour?
It is, mate, but it's not. I wouldn't say it was OD green, and I wouldn't say it's a good mix of like the brown and the green in between the two. Do you know what I mean? It's like you've got like you could use it anywhere. I mean, as to be fair, it is stained to buggery with where I've used it to wipe can cream off and stuff, and I haven't washed it for about 4.5 years, but so it's a bit funky. But again, it's all camo and concealment. You don't want to go around smelling the Daz, do you?
I mean,
so
I
just waft that around the woods while I lay down, and then it keeps all the baddies away.
Yeah, I bought this one a while ago. So this one's got like a plain green back into it, but the other side's actually kind of semi-printed.
Oh, okay. I've not seen
that's
that
quite
before.
Yeah, that's quite good again because if you sort of you cover up, it's already got like a bit of a print on there, so it's not obviously just one colour.
It's very Tom Berenger Sniper. Oh, classic film.
I prefer a scrim scarf as opposed to like a snood because I don't like it like being tight to the face. Although it's handy like winter months and that's always good, but I usually find I end up steaming up, getting too hot in it. Whereas I like when you say like with a ghillie hood or like a loose like top half, like the hood sort of thing, and almost the cloak, I suppose, if you want. It's loose on the body, so it doesn't add any like a thermal layer to obviously warm you up in the summer or anything like that. And obviously with these, they're more breathable, so you can literally just drape that over you when you're laying down. Drape it over your face. It's not going to affect you steaming up or anything at all. So yeah, they're good.
There we go.
There we go.
Whoa, where did she go? The connection's dropped off. She's vanished.
I was like, I've got one around here somewhere.
That's cool. And is that a peaked cap on there?
A what?
It's like a baseball cap.
Yeah.
That's wicked. I like that.
I prefer the cap because it helps with keep like the sun out your face. But then I got told about the line on the cap here, and that's like quite a big giveaway because there's no straight lines in nature or wherever. So I sort of added a bit of stuff onto the end of it, really.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That looks cool.
Yeah. And then I've sort of recently put some mesh on the inside as well, so I don't have to wear my face spray. So, yeah.
Ah.
So I hate face spray.
Used to have loads of that scrim. Loads of it. God knows where it all went. Probably tucked away at home somewhere where I used to live with my dad many moons back. But literally, it was whenever you went, sort of, all to say, scouts, this, that, and the other. But you had loads of it.
Mm-hmm. I know. It's good gear, mate. Honestly, it's so versatile. Like I said, you can use it for anything. Make your own, make a hide as a scarf, face covering, anything. You know.
I bought a few packs of it to actually cut up and turn into strips for some of the ghillie suits.
Yeah, nice.
So, that's probably. Actually, one point I just want to circle back around to is obviously overheating. So when we last got out to play a game, I think it was probably July-ish, the last MilSim we probably did. And I wore the ghillie suit then, and honest to God, the camo cream I put on at the beginning of the operation or whatever we did to go out and recce, it was completely gone by the time we finished. Ghillie Girl, how do you cope with that? Because obviously, I'm not implying you sweat in any way, but obviously heating and sort of wearing a lot of layers of camouflage is obviously, it does cause a bit of a thermal issue.
So in the summer months, about the only time we got out to play this year, was I wore like these like legging type things just on the bottom half. So they were quite cool, and the North Mountain suit I find actually really quite breathable. Obviously, it's a bit heavy when you start adding stuff to it, but it's got holes in it constantly, so it's quite breathable in that sense. And then top half, I think the bit that makes me sweat the most is probably the rig more than anything, because I wear a rig over the top. But yeah, in terms of the suit, It is quite breathable, I'd say, but I tend to get cold very easily. So in anything, it's more of a warmth thing for me. So, but yeah, I mean, I did play one game in the summer, and I think it was one of the hottest days of the year, and it was like 30 odd degrees, and I literally wore it for like the first. We had at the site I went to, we had a quick 10-minute death match with a little warm up, and I remember wearing it for 10 minutes, and then it was off for the rest of the day. It was like 30 degrees, and I was like, no.
Not throw it too far, you won't find it.
No, but yeah, I mean, a lot of the ghillie suits, they're quite breathable anyway. I suppose the hood I'm making is probably what I'm going to use mostly for the summer months. So at least I've got some sort of camouflage. But as I said, most of the time I'm cold, so I wear it all anyway. So, yeah.
We've had a question in from... Sorry, Paul.
No, go on, mate. Crack on.
We've had a question in from Harry Badger. Would be interesting to get your thoughts on the KMCS ghillie or the Novrich 3D ghillie, or is it better and cheaper to craft a suit like GSG?
Is that aimed at me?
Yeah, go for it.
Yes.
So, I mean, I've seen the Novrich ghillie. I think it looks amazing, to be fair, especially the leaves he's done. But the only thing I would say with the leaves, obviously, it depends if those leaves are actually in your environment. Because obviously they'll stick out like a sore thumb if they're not. But yeah, I mean, Novrich ghillie does look pretty good, I'd say. KMCS ghillie suit, I have played alongside a few of them, and they are decent, don't be wrong. But in my personal view, I think they're quite expensive compared to other suits which work just as well. And I've also seen recently quite a few images where handcrafted suits literally made from scratch work a lot better than these leaf suits that you pay for, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think, I mean, I've been told recently time is more important in the ghillie suit than money.
It's almost like a rite of passage for an airsoft sniper, isn't it? Where, like, I mean, how many guys and girls out there who are airsoft snipers and they've actually made their own ghillie suits? I mean, there's quite a few of them. So I think it's almost a sort of a done thing. If you're going to really take it seriously in the sport of being a sniper, then it's sort of like, well, you know, where's your handcrafted ghillie suit? Do you know what I mean? It's sort of one of those things that I see a lot of snipers that I've come up against. That a majority of them they've either bought a base model, which hasn't been the most expensive one in the world, but they've certainly put a fair few hours into, like you said, they're cutting up some material, dyeing it, different materials, different textures, depth, and perception of the suit, and making it their own sort of thing. And I think I'm not a sniper at all. I don't claim to be a airsoft sniper whatsoever, but I think. Yeah, like I said, it must be some sort of rite of passage that they've got to sort of make a handcrafted of some description towards their sort of suit, rather than just going into a shop and be able to just whip one off the shelf and say, yeah, this is cool, that's it, I haven't got to do nothing to it now. I personally wouldn't like to do that. I'd like to be able to put some hours into one, and if I had the patience to, and sort of craft it and learn the skills of camouflage that way as well. Yeah,
I mean, I've never seen a suit out of the box that actually works great in an environment. Every single suit needs some sort of crafting on, adding to the especially leaf suits, and I just think, well, if you're going to do that anyway, you could come out with something just as good by buying a £10 cheap Chinese suit off Amazon, spending X amount of time or crafting into it. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to your local site. Every site you go to is different in one way or another. So yeah, no suit that you buy off the shelf is going to replicate your local site amazingly. You know, it will work to some extent, don't get me wrong. But I mean, my North Mountain suit, it does work really well, but I've had to craft on top of that. You know, so it's like, well, yeah, if you want a good suit, go and buy one, but you will have to craft on top of it as well. So why not do it from scratch?
Stips just commented, you either understand ghillie or you buy one. That's probably the quote of the episode.
Yeah, that's right.
A Stip for you.
I don't understand them. but I won't buy one either, apart from my little hood.
We've just had a photo sent to us from one of our viewers. I need to learn to find these things quicker before I actually even start talking. We'll circle back to that. It's a camouflage photo from Wayne.
Okay.
I don't know if I can find it quickly. Hang on. There we go. There we go. So that was Wayne's first go at camo paint. So.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I mean, obviously, I when I do it, I mean, obviously, it's his first attempt, but I mean, I'd certainly do the neck or the hands, and obviously, it almost looks a bit regimented with the green, unless he's going for a certain type of look or something. But obviously, with the two primary green stripes across the face, I mean, that's sort of like you could sort of probably pick that up quite clearly. I'd maybe do a larger pattern across, and then having smaller stuff going the opposite direction to break up that green a bit. Maybe some black going through there a little bit, a touch, and that would probably be bob on then. But yeah, all good though. Not too much and not too little. He certainly hasn't used too much or too little paint. It's probably just like more of the pattern that needs to be broken up a little touch more, I'd say, from that. But he does look cool. I do like a bit of DPM and a 58 pattern webbing set, I say.
All right, come on, get a cold bucket of water.
Oh.
So here's
Ray Trial has just asked, do you add leaf litter and foliage from where you play to your ghillie suit girl?
Oh, I
Continental
do.
again.
I have.
Man just went European.
Yeah, foliage.
Foliage.
I wonder if I need to add some more foliage to my hood now, Mike.
Oh.
Here we go. So on my suit, I have quite a few hairbands, literally just tied like that with a zip tie through the middle. And yeah, so as soon as I go to a game, tend to be during the first game, me and my teammates will go around and literally just stick natural stuff in there. And yeah, natural stuff always helps.
That's a wicked shout, that is.
So yeah, I mean, I know the KMTS suit has these already embedded in to add stuff, but as I said, literally got like, I don't know, 20 hairbands for £1 or something, and just put it on with a zip tie. And I've got quite a few of those. So yeah, I mean, I suppose you could buy a suit and stick a few hairbands in there and just do it like that, but yeah,
that's a good shout. I never even thought about doing that.
Across the country are going to be buying out hairbands now.
Poundland is going to be out of hairbands tomorrow.
I find Primark's best.
Primani.
Oh yes.
Bit of Primani. Can't beat it. Will be done.
Fair play.
So it's a quick question then. So this is one that you see bounced around a little bit. MilSim wise, so you've got some sites that have got absolutely no worries about full ghillie suits. The other sites have put restrictions to top half only. What's people's thoughts on that? I know Legion are top half only.
I think possibly for their battle sims. Don't quote me on that, but
I think
I'm not sure on that
threatened
one.
by how good a ghillie suit can be.
I think if it's an actual MilSim,
Fear the ghillie suit.
I think a ghillie suit should be allowed. If it's a MilSim, it's a MilSim. If you're a sniper, then that's it. If that's what you're using, then you're using it. You know.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, I don't see why they'd be.
I mean, I'm guessing from a skirmish day point of view, it can probably be a bit of a ball ache trying to ID. Oh, is he blue or red or whatever? I don't know. You know, I suppose if you wear a ghillie suit and you get lit up by your own team and they can't see that you're on blue or red, then you know, is that your own fault maybe for not displaying it? I don't know. You know, if I see a sniper and I can't ID what team he's on, but there's a good chance he's going against me, and I won't think twice of popping one at him. But
I think a lot of
sites
later tend to have the rule now that I know the ones I've played at say you have to wear your band on your arm so it is visible at all times. But I know a few snipers who try and get away with it by maybe putting it on their leg or things like that. But
yeah, around the ankle or something.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I don't see why ghillie suits shouldn't be allowed. At the end of the day, if your Airsoft is to replicate the real world, and you'd have ghillie suits in the real world. I'd get if you literally turn up with, I don't know, 60-70% of the players on that day all in a ghillie suit.
I think that's what
it's just going to be a camping game, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's what came about. It got to the point where there was like 30 or 40 snipers there all in ghillie suits, and it's just sort of like, you know, this is ridiculous now. But then it's a skirmish day. You know, how do you bar how many snipers you have arrive at a skirmish day? How many, you know, LMG gunners do you allow onto the field? How many of this? How many of that? You know, that's when it's going to start getting silly. You know, if you do one, you got. You know, that's got to cascade across all the different sort of factions, if you like them. But certainly from a MilSim point of view, I can't see the problem of. I certainly wouldn't have a whole section of like 8-man section of snipers in full ghillie suits going out in one hit. That's just a ball ache. You know, that's just like, nah, come on, 1 or 2 of recon maybe, but.
Just reading the website for Legion, just because we mentioned them specifically. The battle sim specifically says that basically, you know, snipers can't run around in. I might have just got this confused. Yeah, basically, it's only allowing the top half.
Right.
So yeah,
I did think it was a battle sim or the skirmish. I didn't think it was the actual full MilSims. I didn't think they'd do that. That's good to know. There you go. You still got full MilSims down there then.
Here's the exact wording. Snipers are allowed at our battle sim events, but only a half upper ghillie leaf suit is allowed. You must have your trousers exposed, and your trousers and shirt must match your team's uniform colours.
I know a lot of places who do MilSim, they tend to say that because they don't tend to wear armbands, do they? They normally do it in what you're wearing to distinguish between the teams, don't they?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean, if you've got like NATO against Op4, you know, probably Op4 will be OD green or with some Flecton or something thrown in there, whereas NATO would be like your MTP, multi-cams, things like that. But then again, I mean, if you know where your snipers are, then there shouldn't be any problem with, you know, whether they're getting hit by getting blue on blue or something like that. You know, by rights, it shouldn't really happen. I mean, obviously, it's a bit more intense on a skirmish day because it's, you know, hell for leather. As soon as the whistle goes, it's like, you know, balls to the wall and rounds going down. But on a MilSim, it's a little bit, I'd say, a bit more controlled aggression sort of thing, if you like. You know, it's not so much an organised firefight, but, you know, you can sort of, you'll have a better idea of where your guys are on the ground because they're going to be out in that position for a lot longer than for like a 45-minute game, for example. Then it all changes around. You know, you're there for the weekend, so you get to know where your guys are going and what you're doing, this, that, and the other side.
It's just people management, then, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just
Longmore,
what they're doing.
Longmore UTC as well. I mean, obviously you've got a lot of urban area there, so obviously having a ghillie suit is going to make you look like a Chewbacca running through the streets, isn't it? So that's, you know, you're not. I was looking around for the source of that noise. Then
that was surprisingly accurate.
Yeah, your ghillie suit's not going to help when you're running up and down a proper street. So I think, you know, I can understand if you've got the entire.
Although it does look cool
like,
seeing a sniper with a photo of a sniper with a building backdrop in a full ghillie suit does actually look really cool. I don't know why, but I've seen a few images where you got like a broken down building behind him. It's just sort of like.
we took the Alamo that time when I was on the Op4, and we were standing in there. So I mean, you'll know this, you guys. So if you're going into the Alamo through the double doors, and you've, you know, over in the far right hand corner you've got that building, and then each of the corners you've got the saying in, haven't you? And we was in the first one on the left, and that's the nearest point to the woods. And I was standing in there just propping up, you know, thinking surely it's our bedtime soon. And I clocked one straight across the top of the head. And that was from a sniper that it was dark anyway, but they'd crawled right up into that woodland there, and just, mate, you know, when you wake up in the morning, you got a whelk sticking out the side of your head. You think, let's sign up. I paid money for this. What do I do that for? It's like 80 quid to get shot in the head. But he's, you know, I'm with you. I think it's, you know, if someone wants to sort of spend that time and that effort into making that role their own. You know, and perfecting that, then who am I to piss on people's chips by saying, sorry, you can only wear half of that? You know, it'd be like someone telling me I can only bring my barrel. I'm not allowed to bring the rest of the gun.
That's it, yeah. Choose.
You know, it's there. It's a real life conflict. You know, you're not going to sort of tell someone that they can bring their tank, but they're not allowed to use the tracks or whatever. You know, it's just go for it. You know, if you don't like it, then understand it. Yeah. If you don't like getting shot by snipers, then understand what being a sniper's all about, and you know, and understand how to target it or keep your fucking head out of the way, which is what I've started to do.
This is it, exactly. This is the other thing, and it's all the whole headshot thing with snipering and that. But that's obviously a different subject. It's nothing to do with camo and concealment, is it? But here we go.
Yeah, that's just a can of worms, Lance. Move
I'm not going to. That's why. As soon as I started saying it, I was like, no, I'm not going there.
Of obviously, Paul, with that situation at Longwall where you're in the Sanger, obviously someone snuck right up. Do you reckon that was the best use of tactics, possibly? Because I mean, obviously, if you're just trying to take out one person in a tower, fine, fair enough. But if you're trying to potentially take like an area, because I mean, tactics with ghillie suits and concealment is obviously quite useful as well. If you can move people into a situation.
Yep. I mean, that one was what we were planning to go on a break. So when we first went there, you got given a 3-hour slot of when you could go and get something to eat, and get your head down for an hour or so. And I think ours was 2 till 5 in the morning, and we pushed it, and it was a solid fight. It was a really good fight to take the Alamo off of the Blue 4 guys, and we got for a shit ton. I mean, we got a shit ton of pyro. I had a rucksack full, and we was launching it over there. And we managed to take it in the end, and it was 3 tag launches or something like that to breach the main gates as well. So we got in, we took it, and we was holding it, and we waited for the relief to come, and we was told that relief isn't coming. You're going to have to forfeit your sleep and look after the place. And I think that they were just, someone on Blue 4 was just, we've got a sniper in the field, well, make them uncomfortable. Just keep them awake. It's 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. These guys are just about standing up. They've had nothing to eat. Their water levels are quite low. They're hanging out. Our tradecraft and fieldcraft had gone out the window because we were like just talking as we're talking now. So we might as well have just had a light above our heads. And obviously this guy's just thought, well, what I'll do is I'll wake him up a little bit.
Just
Exactly that, harassed us. Not long after that, that's when you lot, the Blue 4 lot had launched another assault and just totally smashed the doors open and took the Alamo back. But at which point I was quite happy to go and have something happen to the MREs and kept my head down for an hour.
Yeah, they've got the fog back. Oh, well.
Oh, man. What do you mean? Who left the door open? Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Paul, you're not hit. Yes, I am.
Walking out like that. Sorry.
As soon as the first round goes off, yep, hit.
But I think that's it, that's and then ultimately you've got to cater for that aspect of it as well. Your snipers are out there, and what do they want? What do they want out of a game? They want to get as close as they can.
Yeah,
the
it's
guns that we've got
as well. I mean, it is great fun.
Exactly, 90-meter range guns, 80 meters, 70 meters, or whatever. But if you can get up to someone as close as that, you're ticking all the right boxes for everybody. So
I love it.
Yeah, I'm all for it, mate. If I know I've got a couple of semi-decent snipers that are on our side, you go, and even at a skirmish, you think, yeah, absolutely. But if you're looking and you're on the blue side, and you're looking at the red team, and they've got 3 or 4 snipers, and you think they know what they're doing. They've not just spent 90 quid on a gun at the shop, and they're going to fire it, and it's just going to sort of drip out and hit a tree to the left or whatever. Then you start to worry a little bit, and it puts you on edge.
So when you're patrolling along and you just hear this, you think,
yeah, exactly, and you think, what's that coming?
Oh God, here we go.
Is that lunchtime? I'm going back for
everyone hits the floor.
Everyone's down. It's like, where do anybody hear where that round came from? And you hear,
shit, I've got my battery. I've got to go back.
Well, on that point, Ghillie Sniper Girl, how do you find what would be the most successful way to take you out? If you're like
that's a bit forward,
isn't it? Team. No, but
blimey, you waited 58 minutes.
If we was to go out, where's your favourite place to go?
So I'm talking, right, to clarify, talking counter sniper tactics.
I would say flanking them, but then I suppose that's what snipers try and do. But I would say as a sniper, I tend to, I suppose the same with most snipers, to be fair, they try and find a spot where not many people go and they've got good visual of everywhere else. Yeah, I remember once, I hadn't been sniping that long, to be fair, and I was still am learning, and I ended up basically in sort of enemy territory, and I was just laying on this floor underneath this like holly bush thing, but not very well covered at all, and I was just laying there, and I had about 8 of the enemy team about around me, about less than 10 meters away, and I was like, shit. And my heart was just racing, and I was like, oh. And it was because they didn't expect one of the opposite team to be anywhere near them. So I was just laying there like, don't move, because I couldn't move. If I moved, then I couldn't even pull my pistol out. And my boots ended up giving me away, and they shot me up the arse, and it really hurt. So after that, I'm like, right, give me up the boots. But yeah, I mean, snipers. I mean, in my head, I have go where you're least expected. So
we tend to find a few when you at Apocalypse at the back of Stockade towards Punisher Pit. Yeah, because no one, say no one really goes, but you do get forced up round that way. But the amount of times I've been taken up round there, and you're sort of working your way around. I'm just going to sneak back through, calm it down. I'm going to sneak back through, and next thing it's like bang, it's like a 0.4, whatever to the back of your head or in your shoulder or your kidney or something like that. And you think, but it is that. It's those places where you just, at least you're not going to very rarely going to see them sort of standing in the middle of a hut or something like where it's a bit bloody obvious, And
I suppose if you've got a suit that's got quite, not a suit, a sight that's got quite a few different terrains and different landscapes, when you're standing there in your two teams, I stand there and look at the other snipers in their suits, and I think, okay. And then when I'm playing, especially if I'm going a bit more casual, I look for where their suit would be best blended in, and that's where they could be.
Oh, that's a good idea.
So,
yeah, nice.
Just start firing at random, because I run support gun anyway, so that'd be great for me. I'll just right, they might be in there. Just spray that down.
Just don't light bushes up. That's like our biggest hate, because everyone just thinks we're a bush.
I have 82 rounds in my magazines. I can't afford to just stand there and light them up because I'd be out of ammo in 10 minutes.
Because you walk around with a stick, just banging bushes.
What would you say has been your most successful game then? If you had to think back and think, if I could replay one game over and have that level of success that you had in that game with the suits that you've made or the camouflage that you've been wearing or whatever, what one would you pick?
I would pick probably the game before last, because I had my VSR with me. It was finally finished, fully upgraded. It was only half wrapped. The barrel wasn't wrapped, which is probably the most important part. But yeah, and I found I've been playing at this site for a little while, and I finally found where I was actually quite well hidden. And the amount of kills I got with my VSR, I mean, you're not supposed to be kill hungry, admittedly, and I very rarely get a lot of kills during a game day. I'm more looking at my surroundings and sneaking around type thing. But I just happened to be in an area where there was just so many enemies. We had to hold the village, I think it was, and I was just sniping left, right, and centre. I was like, it gave me like a bit of a buzz. I was like,
fair play. Please keep coming. Please keep coming. Please.
My VSR jammed, and I had to sort of call out and go and sort my VSR out.
Well, they finally found out where all the shots are coming from. Then just heard this echoing bollocks through the woods, marching out.
For God's sake!
This tree with Tourette's. Just walking back. Well, I mean, you
gun and half just snapped across the knee.
I tell you what, Airsoft has taught me that a lot of the time I tend to, every time I get hit, it's very rarely I just say hit. There's normally a swear word before hit.
Yeah.
And I don't swear a lot. But
no, usually it doesn't. It jump at 12 feet in the air. It's like no swearing. That's at the mission brief. Then all of a sudden, all you can hear is just blue across the field where people are getting lit up by a 12-year-old with a rental. And you're standing there with $6,000 worth of kit or whatever. It's kids like that with a Rambo package. But I mean, you camo up, Mike, don't you? You like to sort of camo up and sit in trees and that as well. So, same question to you, mate. If you could pick, one day or one session that you've had that you'd think, if I could skip back to that one and relive it, or do it with a GoPro strapped to my head and, and record it, what one would you go back to?
Probably, to be fair, the last MilSim we did back in July, because that was the first proper time that I kind of used a ghillie like hood in anyway. Before that, I have got a Falklands MilSim. So I'd worn that before, and that kind of got me my first little taste of, I like covering myself in strips of fabric. But the last MilSim we went to,
You have to make it sound weird.
It just went there, didn't it?
The last MilSim I went to, Lance kind of said, does anybody want to go off and do like a little recce? And then me and James Minns went off, and we kind of positioned ourselves, and then we got over the radio that we're attacking like one of the locations, so I pushed up there. People don't expect a ghillie suit with a support gun. So because I'm not wearing the ghillie suit necessarily to be super sneaky, I just want to, like, when I'm positioning and sort of like, in a position where I'm going to defend the rest of the unit, I don't want people to know I'm there until I want them to know I'm there. But that was great, because I had about 5 people in a direct line just walking past us. I lit them all up, and it was absolutely amazing.
Fair play.
Yeah.
So
Ghillie support guns, it's the way of the future.
Definitely, mate.
if I was to put a different spin on that one, then for you, Lance, so as a team leader, Punishers, what would you say has probably been the one sort of MilSim or whatever it is that you've been on that you've seen the most effective use of your ghillied up sniper guys or your support guys?
I'd have to say, if I had to pluck one out of thin air, it would have been the Falklands event, when I think there was probably, I was going to say, about 9 or 10 of us, and we had to hold the comms hut with no cover, and we held it for 2 hours. Wasn't it, Mike?
Yeah,
I think, and that was literally on your belt buckles just for 2 hours. We had
There's
guys
not much to the
respawn.
comms hut, is there?
There's literally a yellow. It's sort of Sniper Girl. It's literally a yellow car park attendant's office, like one of them yellow plastic booths with a couple of pallets on the floor around it on the outside, and then just your natural tree cover, a couple of holly bushes, some low-lying fallen branches, and that's literally it. There's the boys, and we had to, we held that with a couple of snipers for 2 hours from getting hit from 360 degrees. It was coming from. That was probably the best display that I'd seen from my guys of holding ground and using natural cover. And even I think Mr. Marden, who obviously not with us this week, he even commented afterwards. He said there's no way we was getting anywhere near where you guys were, let alone see where you guys were. So that was for me one of my personal favourites of what the boys done. And then from a different point of view, from myself, with a gentleman called Dave Kirby who come to a MilSim at Apocalypse, and I think it was I'm trying to remember which one it was now. I think it was a Taliban NATO one, and a lot of my guys have been hit out, and this was just after dusk, so it was a tiny little bit light still, but it was getting on for getting dark. You know what I mean? It was more dark than it was light, and we went back to take the stockade between the two of us, and we managed to get into the slip Trent nearest checkpoint Charlie. Mm-hmm. Two of us, we went around the perimeter wall, ran towards the back of the woodland, up onto the edge of the trench where the outer boundary was. We dropped 2 guys in the tower. No, sorry, 2 guys in the back sanger. Went over for the wall, cleared the compound. Then Dave come over. I got hit out in the doorway into the main building. He pulled me back out, medicked me back in. As he pulled me back, I dropped my rifle and left it inside the building. So I was out on my sidearm, so he gave me his Glock, and then we went in and we took the rest of the building. So for movement's point of view, and the fact that it was my first event with him, and we literally just knew what each other was doing, and we literally just systematically took the whole place apart between the two of us. That was cool.
It's like the planets align, isn't it? It just works.
It was really good. And then I did do a cheeky little maneuver right at the end where I'd run out of pyro and I was going to clear the little crow's nest at the top of the tower.
Yep.
I had a little bit of a Rizzler left, and I made the cherry really orange, and I threw it up the stairs and went. And we heard this. So we knew there was no one up there. Then he threw his last tremor up there. Then to get him, he said, "I'm not wasting it if there's no one up there." I was like, "Hang on."
I thought you'd run out and just decided to.
You just hear this.
Oh,
shit. But yeah, that was the boys at the Falklands one, holding that comms up for 2 hours. That was wicked. Nice. That was really and intense as well. It was really, really worked for it. Do you know what I mean? It's not like it was a pushover. We certainly had to work for it, but no one was off the ground. Everyone was flat on the ground, if you had to move about, you were shuffling on your elbows backwards. You know, guys trying to bring a resupply into you to bomb up your mags. And there was at one point I was just laying in the middle with a just bombing up a couple of mags for people until we were out between us. Obviously getting it, because at the time you had to keep supply lines open to get a resupply into you. So it was a case of guys getting back to our main fob, bringing in rounds for us, and then going back. And it was good. It was really good. That was probably for me my favourite.
How about you, Paul?
Yes.
Any closing thoughts on stuff that you've done? No?
Not really, mate. I don't do much. I stay back in the safe zone because that's where the burger van is. Not anymore, though. I'm doing well. I am doing well. No, so yeah, for me, I mean, not anything along those lines where we've sort of dug in and that, but you know, I suppose if I think back to the one time that I've kind of thought, do you know what? This is a slow motion moment. Is when myself and the guys, when we was back in Wolf Recon, we were holding. There's a video of it on the old Wolf Recon YouTube channel, holding the line, and there's just one of the walls that they've made, the wooden walls in the village, and the team were just coming at us and coming at us and coming at us, but we just held the line, you know, and it was just dropping down, reloading, while the others were up, you know, and then there'd be rounds out, and then you'd be up. And then you'd be laying it down, and they'd be down. It'd just be switching over, just pushing them back. They could not get through. And then just afterwards, you walk back and you think, you know, there's no, you know, I'm not under the illusion that there's this, you know, bombed anywhere near what you'd get if you were serving with people in a real life situation. But you know, when you kind of walk away from somewhere and you think, you know, that's that brotherhood of airsoft, you know, in the sisterhood of airsoft that you feel. And you think that was a special moment, one that you'll carry on. And then the only other one that I've had really was with a guy called Jack Cox. So I don't know if anyone knows. Do you remember his sniper rifle was about the same height as a sort of terraced house? I don't know what gun it was.
I think I do actually, yeah.
Do you know, honestly, it's got to be 6 foot long. This thing, it's massive. And we went up to Apocalypse one Christmas, and it had been snowing, so there wasn't loads of people there. And then it was smaller games, but there was a group of 50 rentals from a building firm that all bought the Rambo package. So what's that? 5,000 BBs, gun, your breakfast, and all that sort of stuff that the guys do there. And we were in the hut, so there'd probably be the nearest hut towards Com's hut, the one that's got the upstairs. Downstairs bit, and I think there's a dodgy old mattress that's been chucked in the upstairs that no one wants to sit on because no one knows where the mattress. No one knows where that mattress has been. But Jack was upstairs with his sniper rifle, and then I was downstairs in the window downstairs, and he was just taking them out. These guys, I think they burnt through 5,000 BBs in the first 25 minutes, and they were going back buying more. They were all wearing black. It was white on the floor, snow. So they were sticking out like a pimple on an arse. And if they were over the 30 metres, Jack was just pinging them off. If they got within the 30 metres, I was downstairs with my TM, my 416. So I was taking them out if they got within the 30 metres. And it was just a connection. Do you know what I mean? It's exactly that same thing, that little connection where he knew exactly
you can mop up
what he was doing, and he knew that if they got through, then I had them. And we just held it. It was 2 hours, just constantly. And they kept going back, buying more BBs, coming back out, coming at us, same route, just cannon fodder. But it was brilliant. And those really are the two that stick in my mind. Just jumping back to the bit at the beginning, and I won't dwell on it because obviously time is of the essence. So I've just literally grabbed out the two just so you can get a bit of an idea. So this is the bottom one there is the claw gear, the RAL 7013, which is that sort of darkish greyish brownish green, and then obviously the top one is my yet to be worn, as you can see, because they cancelled the battle sim because of COVID.
Bloody COVID.
Grr. If it weren't for you, COVID, I wouldn't have spent as much as I have on in airsoft. So those are the two colours there. So I must admit, there's a little bit of me that is itching to get that multicam on and come and have a game with you guys, and sort of experience that. A little bit of the Punishers. and have a run along there. And obviously, use something that I've paid a couple of shekels for. Naturally, like anything airsoft, nothing's ever more than 20 quid.
Absolutely.
No, exactly.
So that's me, mate.
Fair play. Good.
Right, we better call it a day. We're well over our hour. If anyone wants to go and give Ghillie Sniper Girl a bit of love on her Instagram, feel free to do so. I'm not going to read out your tag because it's lots. But if you search Ghillie Sniper Girl, I believe that's the best way to probably find you. That's it for this week. Feel free to join us next week. Thanks to Ghillie Sniper Girl for joining us. She's that side
thanks,
of me,
mate.
not that
Great
side.
to see you on the show.
Thanks for having
thoroughly
me.
enjoyed that. Much appreciated.
Next week we're talking Bags and Bergens Part 2, the return of the packing.
Return of the pack.
We're going to talk about basically what goes in your Bergens and bags, sort of what sort of key kit to cover, and sort of some of the best ways to sort of pack those that we found. And yeah, obviously on the countdown to Christmas, if we get a Christmas, so there'll be a few more episodes and stuff and bits and pieces up until then, which should hopefully also have our Christmas special, which I'll put some branding up on the old Instagram at some point. Thanks to Paul for his awesome camouflage picture. Ghillie Girl, what we tend to do at the end of the episode is just start doing stupid stuff. So feel free to whack anything on you that you want to. But yeah, thanks everybody for joining us, and we shall see you soon, or not, if you're camouflaged, as the case may be. Cool. See you later.
Ta-da.